call this meeting to order. This is the first virtual meeting that the Gainesville City Commission has ever had, I believe, and so we're pleased that you all have joined us. I wanted to say just a few quick things before we get started and adopt our supplementary rules that will govern how we run these virtual meetings, and then on to our consent and regular agenda. First of all, I want to thank everybody in our community, especially our community builders that work for the city of Gainesville, our first responders, our RTS workers, our GRU workers, all of the city employees who have repurposed themselves to be useful in this time of crisis. Your efforts are applauded, and a grateful community thanks you. We want to thank our healthcare workers who are on the front lines of fighting this pandemic here in Gainesville and Alachua County, across the nation, and all around the world. We want to thank our grocery store clerks and all of the other employees working for essential businesses, keeping us fed, keeping us healthy. And we want to thank all of our Gainesville neighbors for how much they have come together to stay home and keep everyone safe. I'm truly proud of our community, and I know that this has got a long way to go, but there's no place that I know any of my colleagues, the more than 2,200 people that work for the city of Gainesville, would rather be. I want to share with the commission that I've had a discussion with our new policy director, and and I think that he's been able to speak with all of you as well. The intention is to completely reprioritize our general policy recommendations and focus the efforts and research of he and the rest of our staff on response to the especially economic fallout from this pandemic. And so he will be working with all of us on how to move these things forward as quickly as possible to get direct aid to our residents, our neighbors, and our businesses. As far as how tonight will go, I'm gonna do an around the horn approach to this. It's very difficult to know who raised their hand first and all that. If you don't have anything that you want to say at the time, just nod your head or wave your hand or something like that, and I'll just go on to the next person. Nobody should feel obligated to say anything if they don't have a question or something they want to add. But I just want to make sure I don't leave anybody out. And again, that raise hand thing doesn't really work that well. The order of each item, the way that it will work, is the clerk will read in the item as she normally would. Then staff will do their presentation of the item. I'll go around to the commission to see if there's any clarifying questions, just points of information, something you didn't understand or that you need repeated. We will then have commission discussion if there happens to be any. We will look to try to get a motion on the floor at that point, and then we will go out to public comment. We do have a call-in number that people can use to participate in public comment for each individual item. That will be moderated by Larry Schooler, and I'm going to introduce him in just a moment. And then after we've received all the public item for each item on the agenda, we will move back to see if there's any further questions or comments by the commission, and then we will move to a roll call vote. Every vote in these meetings will be a roll call vote, just to make sure that we get everything absolutely correct. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Larry Schooler. Larry, do you mind saying hello and letting us know what you'll be doing with us tonight, and what the people at home following along should expect when they call in to offer comment? Welcome, and thank you for joining us, Larry.
Thank you, Mayor, very much, and thanks to Manager Lee Feldman for inviting us to participate as well. We are pleased to provide kind of a hosting of a public hotline for anyone who would like to make comments to the Commission during their posted agenda tonight. You can do so by calling toll-free 800-876-7516. Again, that's 800-876-7516. When you do so, you'll at first hear the audio of the meeting itself, and then you'll hear the voice of a call screener, and she will get your information and make sure we know what item you would like to speak to the Commission about. Then you'll be placed on hold and hear the meeting audio again, and then we'll come back to you when it's the appropriate time, as the mayor indicated, for public comment on that item. So be patient with us. This, of course, is our first time collaborating and integrating public comment via telephone in this fashion. We'll do the very best we can to make it as seamless as possible for everyone, including the public and the Commission, to hear from you this evening. And Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Larry. And for people wishing to participate via that avenue, the call-in number, it's going to be the same as in the chambers. You'll get 3 minutes. At the end of 3 minutes, your call will cut off, and Larry will go to the next person online, and we'll just keep going. You don't have to take your whole 3 minutes, but realize that at the end of 3 minutes, we'll go to the next caller. There are also several other ways to offer us your comment. You can email us. There is a comment function on the website. If you go to our agenda on the website, you can offer your comments that way as well, and we will see that. And so we hope that everybody that would like to participate is able to do so in a safe manner, physically separated, but not intellectually or emotionally separated from our meeting. The last thing I just wanted to share with my colleagues is that I have really tried to work with the charter officers to make sure that only items of extremely high importance are on our agendas right now. We clearly have a reduced opportunity to engage with members of our community. I don't want to put items on the agenda that we don't really have to do right away, and prevent maybe some members of our community from participating when otherwise they would and would be able to. And so this is these are unusual times. I fully expect us and local governments around our state to have decisions made in these meetings challenged. Now, whether those challenges are deemed valid or not by the courts, whether they're summarily dismissed, or they end up being fought through the entire process, we don't know. But I think that there are folks from around the state that are looking to really test what the limits of these meetings are and how that relates to our public meetings laws and sunshine laws and things like that. And so again, the fewer things that we take up, unless they're really critical, I think the better for us in the long run. So with that, does anybody have any questions for me just about how the meeting will proceed? No? Okay. I'm looking for the hands. Not jazz hands. Okay, so let's go ahead and in lieu of invocation, take a moment of silence here, and then we'll get started with the business of the meeting. So if everyone would please join me for a moment of silence. All right, thank you very much. Okay, our first order of business, Madam Clerk.
Our first item is item 191147, supplemental city commission rules governing virtual public meetings with the recommendation that the commission adopt the resolution.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to recognize our city attorney, Nicole Shalley, to present this resolution. And Ms. Shalley, if you would start out by just explaining the need for this resolution to anybody watching that might wonder, what are we doing and why are we doing this? And especially doing it first before we do our consent agenda or anything else. And then we'll get into a discussion with the commission. Ms. Shalley.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. So you all have adopted rules of procedure that govern how you handle and transact city commission meetings. As the mayor in his introduction just recognized, this is very different because this is the first time that we are holding a virtual public meeting. Local governments under the law up until recent governor action didn't allow for local governments to hold a meeting virtually and allow members to be both present and counted for voting if they weren't physically present in the meeting room. The governor entered an emergency order in light of the COVID-19 pandemic that allows, the only thing that he waived though is that you don't have to be physically present in a meeting room for purposes of quorum and voting. In all other respects, we have to try to, and we must meet the requirements of both the Sunshine Law and other laws that require that at a public meeting, that the public have a reasonable opportunity to provide comment and participate. So what these rules do is set forth in writing for all of us, notice of how these virtual meetings will be conducted. And what I'm going to do, and this will be helpful, as the mayor said, if there are legal challenges, we can show a court very clearly how we set forth how these virtual meetings will be conducted in full compliance with the law, given the unusual factual conditions and circumstances of the pandemic. So what I'm going to do, and since we prepared this agenda a week ahead of time, again, in an effort to try to get the word out to the public and to have you all have a good amount of time to review the agenda. Since drafting this resolution and in talking with charter officers and getting input from commissioners, there are a few revisions that I think need to be made. So I'm going to share my screen with you all and the public will be able to see it, pull the document up, and I'll go through each section and point out the revisions that I believe need to be made. And then certainly if any of you would like to discuss further revisions, I have the ability to edit the document on screen so that everyone will know exactly what you're voting on this evening. So just a moment and I will get it pulled up. Okay, can everyone see it? Mayor, can you see it?
Yes, yes,
okay,
thank you.
Good. Yes. So I will scroll down to where the actual rules start. The whereas clauses just give all of the information basically that I just explained to you, the background of why this is necessary. So starting with these supplemental rules, and this is on page 2, the first revision that I think needs to be made on lines 21 and 22 is to include that there can be virtual meetings, that emergency meetings can be held as virtual meetings. We listed all the other kinds, and even though it wasn't an exhaustive list, I just didn't want any confusion that we couldn't hold a emergency meeting. Then rule number 2 talks about the notice of meetings and the clerk prepares each week that gives notice of all the meetings to be held the next week. In that notice of meetings now, there are many things that the clerk will be listing, including identifying which meetings will be virtual, identifying all of the public access points that the public can view or listen in on the meeting, explaining how the public can participate in the meeting by submitting verbal or written comment, and providing a contact person that the public can contact during the meeting if there are issues with the technology. Just as we experienced at the very beginning of this meeting, there was an issue with the city's hardware that was resolved. So clearly, if something like that were to happen, it's important that the public be able to contact us and let us know so that the meeting can be recessed or adjourned as needed. And then, of course, the opportunity for requests to be made for persons with disabilities who may need something special to participate in the meeting. Rule number 3 discusses agenda items, and this goes to the mayor's point that the way it's currently drafted, it provides and recognizes that what we're trying to do during this time is to conduct essential city business. And to that end, each charter officer may submit agenda items together with the backup, and any commissioner who would like to place an item on the agenda should work through the appropriate charter officer and determine which agenda that item should be placed on. Rule 4, you'll see there are some revisions that I've made here, again, recognizing that there are different requirements or should be different requirements for regular, that meaning regularly scheduled commission meetings and committee meetings, versus B, I carved out special meetings and workshops. It was starting to become apparent that if we need to call a special meeting, the 7 days requirement up here that the agenda be finalized a week before the meeting, that's not going to work for special meetings and workshops. So a proposed revision is to finalize the agenda for the special meetings and workshops 3 business days prior to the meeting. And that is in accordance with the guidance from the Attorney General's office. After publication of the agenda, whether that be for the regular meetings, special meetings, or workshops, no modifications will be made to the agenda. What that's an attempt to do is to get the agenda in a final form so that both members of the public and members of the commission will know exactly what business is going to be transacted. All of the backup will be there. When you all get to the meeting, certainly, staff may have, just as I've revised this draft resolution, there may be revisions made at the meeting or a new draft presented at the meeting, but at least the public will know that the agenda is the place to look, and then they tune into the meeting, and that's where they can find out what's going on with the item. Rule 5 is, again, just a recognition that if you're present in our virtual meeting, then you're present for the quorum and voting. Under the order of business, you can see it's an abbreviated agenda for regular meetings. One revision I think that's necessary is for ordinances, we had no quasi-judicial matters will be heard. At present, that's still true. But I think we should take this out because staff is working very hard to try to get the technology to a point that that might be possible. So I don't want to be precluded in the future. But as I said, right now, we won't be putting quasi-judicial items on. We did include a necessary direction to charter officer section in the agenda. And the reason being is I think the charter officers recognize that a commissioner may want to bring something up that they believe is time sensitive, that it's essential, and they want their fellow commissioners to consider and give direction to the charters. So for example, if you all wanted to have a discussion, there's nothing on this agenda tonight about the COVID-19 pandemic. But if you believe that's a discussion that you need to have, you could give direction to the clerk, for example, to schedule a special meeting. You could give direction to the charters on what topics you might want on that special meeting. So that's the purpose for that section. Rule number 7, public comment. It's a recognition that public comment would be taken only on agenda items and no general public comment. Again, that's going to the point of trying to have the public and everyone know what the business is that will be discussed in advance of the meeting. Then it gives the various ways the public can submit, 2 ways of submitting written comment, and of course the verbal public comment accepted via phone. Rule 8 also says that there will be no general commissioner comment for the same reason. Of course, minutes will still be taken and available. Rule 10 recognizes the technology issue, that if our technology is not working, the meeting may have to be recessed, postponed, adjourned. And then another revision that I think is important, and I added in, is that these rules can be waived by 2/3 vote of the members present. That's the same waiver that's in your standing rules of procedure. I just thought it might be important to reiterate it here so that if there's something that happens that you need to waive some part of this, you'll have the ability to do it. And then finally, couple sections of legalese, and then Section 4 recognizes that this only stays in effect during the time that that governor's executive order is in effect, because once that's gone, the ability to hold virtual public meetings will be gone as well. So that's all I have to present, and you all can discuss.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me see. That doesn't help me. Okay, so I'm going to go around the horn for questions. I'm just trying to give myself a little bit better view here. That doesn't do it. That's better. Thank you, if that was Omi. Okay, Commissioner Simmons, do you have any questions at this time? Okay, Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Hayes Santos.
I do, yes. Nicole, on section 4 under the no modifications section, so I have concern that if we don't allow things to be updated, specifically if there's like sometimes backup is wrong and it's incorrect information out there and that should be corrected, and having incorrect information out to their public, I think is not a good thing. So I guess looking at maybe having no modifications unless like necessary, or like not just willy-nilly, but to be able to fix things that are issues. Because I don't want to have bad information out there and that's what the public thinks when it could have been resolved beforehand. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. So Ms. Shelley, I think maybe just adding something, no changes unless it's to correct incorrect information that was added. That's pretty simple. Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Warren, any questions? We need to unmute Commissioner Warren. Madam Clerk, can you unmute Commissioner Warren?
I am attempting to do that right now.
Thank you. Can I do it? No. All right, Commissioner Ward, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to let the clerk work on the mute issue. Commissioner Ward, did you have any questions?
I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to make a comment. I appreciate, Madam Attorney, I appreciate you working on this and working with the other charters to put this together. And thank you for adding the direction to charters agenda item. I don't anticipate anything, but it's important to have that available should we need the opportunity. So thank you for adding that to that. I appreciate it. That's all.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Warren.
Thank you. So with page 14 and going to the last page of, I can't find page 15 now, but what I'm seeing, the order of the agenda, is it going to stay the same as this, where we do the direction to the charters and then follow that up with the public hearings and ordinance readings? I'm kind of wondering, it seems that we used to have what would have been the commissioner's comments at the end of the agenda, the meeting of the night. So I'm kind of asking how come it's up here before the end of the meeting.
Michelle, and you can correct me, Michelle, if I'm wrong, but I believe it is. The agenda is adoption of the consent agenda, business discussion items, resolutions, then ordinances, and then finally necessary direction to charter officers. That's it. That's the only 5 items, and that direction from commissioners is at the end.
Okay, so the copy I've got is showing ordinances, second reading and first reading after And that
Yeah.
was what was printed out on the 13th.
Yeah, that must be an old copy. Michelle, can you maybe do the share screen again and just throw that part up for Commissioner Warren to see? This will be the version that we're voting to approve.
Yes.
Well, and what I'm seeing is what's actually the copy of the agenda, not what the order of the meeting.
Here is.
Here we go.
Here it is, Commissioner Warren. You should be able to see it on your screen.
Yeah, I can see that, but the agenda, the printed pages, the 15 pages of the agenda does not follow that order. So I was just wondering about that.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're looking at. Because I'm on my iPad, but anyway, this is what we're voting on, what you see in front of you here, and that will be the order.
Okay.
Okay, Michelle, I think you can unshare your screen now again. If we can go back to that, yeah, there we go. Commissioner Ariola, any questions?
No questions, Mr. Mayor. I would like to go ahead and vote on this.
Okay, so a motion to approve the resolution with the modifications as presented by the attorney this evening. Is there a second to the motion? Okay, Commissioner Ward seconds the motion. Okay, so Commissioner Ariola makes the motion, Commissioner Ward seconds the motion to adopt the resolution setting out our new rules for virtual meetings. We will now go to Larry and public comment. And again, that number is 800-876-7516. And just stay on the line and then we'll get you in order. Again, after 3 minutes, we'll move on to the next caller. Larry, first caller, please.
You have been muted. To unmute yourself, press the star key twice.
Mayor, there are no callers specifically on this item. I do want to mention, though, that we have a Boy Scout listening this evening who is earning a merit badge for his participation by watching the meeting with his dad. And so he was hoping to speak during general public comment, which I understand we won't have, but I did want to make you all aware of that.
Well, thank you. I'll tell you what.
Hi, I'm so sorry about that. The facilitator had to say something in the meeting, but I just was hoping to get your son's name. Unfortunately, they're not taking.
Sorry about that.
You have been muted. To unmute yourself.
It's okay. If we, this would be a good lesson in government if we have the Boy Scout with us. If he could maybe share some thoughts with us about what he thinks about us doing virtual meetings and what he thinks about us adopting rules for virtual meetings. We would love to hear that, and that would also make him on topic. And while he does that, I happen to have a picture of me right here that I'll share with everybody. And please, Larry, go ahead and let the young man make his comments about our virtual meeting and what he thinks about that.
All right. Well, let me see if I can get this young man onto the line here. So just stand by for 1 second. So I believe Scott and his son are with us. And Scott, if you and your son can hear us, we'd love to hear from your son tonight. And you may want to mute the TV.
Yes, I can.
So sorry about that. So they are not taking general public comments.
We're actually live. We're actually live.
Your son's name so that the facilitator can tell the commission.
Sorry, we're actually live, and we're trying to get Scott and his son on the air. Scott, if you're there, can you go ahead?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Scott Holowasco. I am a Gainesville citizen and an employee of the City of Gainesville, and I'm attending the meeting this evening with my son Jonathan. And he's a Boy Scout and a student at GHS, and he's earning his communications badge. So we're attending together tonight as part of earning that badge.
Welcome, and Scott, thanks for joining us. Is your son there? Would you like to say hi and give us some thoughts about the virtual meeting?
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Hello. My name is Jonathan Hall-Wasco. I wanted to say thank you for having this meeting in these difficult times. I'm a Boy Scout and a student at Gainesville High School. I am attending the meeting tonight as part of earning my Communications Merit Badge. Thank you for your service.
That's great.
It's a very interesting way of having a meeting.
Yes, it is. We're learning that in real time here. Well, good luck, Jonathan. As a GHS grad, we know that you're going to go on to do amazing things, and we're very proud of the work that you're doing as a Boy Scout. And for the public watching, Scott Holowasko, we normally only hear from him in really foreboding times. He's the guy that updates us on the severe weather warnings and other sort of emergency announcements. So he is one of those frontline community builders that is working ahead of time to keep us safe. We really appreciate you and your son joining us. Keep up the good work. Okay, Larry, did we have anybody else?
Mayor, I'm going to check on one other caller that called in while we were hearing from Jonathan. And so if you all want to continue your discussion, I'll be right back with you.
Okay, I think we're just ready for a vote, so we'll wait for you. Commissioner Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was wondering if you could see the language that Ms. Shalley added on that section 4 about the backup before we vote on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Ms. Shalley, if you can pull that up.
Yes, I was just typing that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, whenever you have it.
Hang on. I think I've got it. Let me. Okay. Let me get my.
That works for me.
Is that good?
I think that works. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor, we do have a caller who'd like to speak on this item if you're ready for that.
Great. Yeah, if the caller would introduce themselves and let us know what's on their mind.
Okay. Caller, I believe this is Ms. Beatty. Please go ahead. Ms. Beatty? Ms. Beatty, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, you're live with the commission. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yes, Joe Beatty. I would just like the commission to be aware that the documents that you're showing now are totally unreadable by the public. I just wanted that to be on record so that you know how this is working, and that's it.
Unreadable as in they don't show up, or there's a blank screen. You still there?
No, it shows up in such fine print that it's even expanding the screen to full screen. It's just blurry, and I can see that there are different colors. Occasionally you can see that there is a chart. You can't read any of the words. You can't see the document. So just, if you're evaluating this technology, I think you should be aware when you're voting that the public cannot be aware of what you're voting on or this documentation. So
okay, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Ms.
Thank
Beatty.
you.
It's showing up clearly on my
okay,
tablet,
thank you. Bye.
All right, thank you, Ms. Beatty. Larry, any other callers?
No, sir.
Okay, back to the commission. We have a motion on the floor to approve the resolution governing virtual meeting rules with a couple of modifications that were made to the original document, and then one last modification that was made at the suggestion of Commissioner Santos on correcting incorrect information on the agendas. If there are no further questions, we'll move to a roll call vote. Madam Clerk? And if y'all could unmute for this.
Johnson? Aye. Ms. Santos?
Aye.
Ward?
Aye.
Warren?
Aye.
Ariola?
Aye with a follow-up question, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Simmons? Aye.
And Poe.
Aye. That motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Hayes Santos, you had a follow-up question?
That was me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Ariola.
You're fine. Pursuant to the question of the public, it's not mentioned in any of the resolutions. Certainly, I think it was just sort of a decision to go with this platform. Zoom seems to be a popular one, but by no means should we feel as though we have to continue to use this if the technology itself is not able to be clear for our citizens. I don't know if that was just a matter of having a Word document be streamed through various different pixel outlets, but just to note, I just think that was worth mentioning.
Sure. We can follow up with folks that participated in the meeting and see what suggestions they have or what difficulties they had, and we'll allow the clerk's office to look at other options. We don't know if it was the end users technology or the way that it's going out. So we'll do the best we can, and if there's a better option out there, especially if we're doing this for a while, we'll certainly investigate those suggestions. Okay, Madam Clerk, next order of business, please.
The next item is the adoption of the consent agenda.
Okay, are there any questions, or is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda? Commissioner Warren? Was that?
I'll go ahead and make I didn't have a question.
Okay.
I was just putting my papers over, but I'll go ahead and make the motion to adopt the consent agenda as provided, unless there's modifications needed.
Okay, there's a motion to adopt the consent agenda. Commissioner Ward seconds. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Pull up my little. Commissioner Ariola, was that an old hand or a current hand?
That was to make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. We will turn then to members of the public. Larry, are there any callers to come out, comment on adoption of the consent agenda or any items on the consent agenda? Larry, are there any members waiting to talk to us for this consent agenda?
Oh, Mayor, I apologize.
Sorry?
I was just going to say that Paul Brody from Santa Fe College is on the line, but he indicated he was here just to be available for questions on the matter that affects the college that's on the consent agenda. So I don't believe that he needed to speak separately.
Okay, very good. And Dr. Brody, welcome. This is my boss. And I'm thrilled to have him here. And thank you so much for your leadership out at Santa Fe during this difficult time. Anybody else waiting to speak? Larry?
Oh, no, sir.
Okay, very good. Any last questions from the commission? Okay.
I would like to hear from Mr. Brody regarding the license agreement.
I don't believe he necessarily wanted to. He was just listening, and I think, is that correct, Larry?
Let's find out. Mr. Brody, if you can hear me, you are on with the commission. Would you like to make any comments?
Absolutely. How you doing, Mayor?
Hey, good. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing fine, and members of the commission, it's good to see. I'm watching you virtually, and can't wait until I have the opportunity to get with you in person. I do want to thank you for your leadership during this pandemic, and I just want to make a few notes. The Blount campus is one of our most significant projects, and it's going to have a profound impact on East Gainesville. And I do want to thank the commission for its partnership with the college as we move forward with this important project. This license agreement that hopefully you will proceed with adopting gives us the ability to construct and maintain an open air plaza on the Blount campus. It will have beautiful landscaping, it will have lighting, it will have outdoor furniture, and will also have bike racks. So it's going to be an inviting place, not just for the college use, but also for the community's use. And I do want to thank you for your consideration. And again, thank you for your leadership during this pandemic.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Brody. I appreciate you being on the meeting with us and sharing your thoughts. Anybody else, Larry, that would like to make any comments from the public?
No, sir, we don't have anyone else.
Okay, anybody else from the commission? Okay, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ariola,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward,
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos,
Aye.
and Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Our next item is the adoption of our regular agenda.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt our regular agenda? Commissioner Hayes Santos, is that a motion?
Yeah, I guess to Commissioner Warren's point, where the necessary direction to charter officers is off on here, I don't think it makes a difference, but just so to move the necessary direction to charter officers to the last item on our agenda. And
okay, so motion to adopt the regular agenda, moving that to the end of the agenda. Is there a second? Commissioner Ward? Okay, so we need a roll call vote for adoption of the regular agenda. I'm sorry, any members of the public wish to speak to the adoption of the regular agenda?
No, sir.
Okay, roll call vote. Oh, Commissioner
Simmons.
Yep, gotcha. I gotcha.
Okay, I just have a question. Why do we want to move this to the end of the agenda?
To take care of our essential business first.
Okay.
It's following our rules. Our rules
Yeah.
state that it has to be at the end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, roll call vote.
Okay, and just to clarify, it actually is at the end of the agenda. The necessary direction to charter officers is the last item that you all will have. Just to clarify that.
Okay.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
You're muted.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Okay. Our next item is RE-1, resolution accepting report of Alachua County Board of Canvassers for election 2020. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Gainesville, Florida, accepting the report of the Alachua County Board of Canvassers for the City of Gainesville, Florida election held on March 17, 2020, and providing an immediate effective date.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a couple important occasions in the electoral process, certainly when somebody files to run, when they qualify to be on the ballot, when they get elected on election night. And then this is an equally important one where we as a City Commission accept the findings of the Board of Canvassers and make the election official. And the last sort of piece of the process will be some sort of swearing in ceremony coming up in May. We don't know what that will look like yet. So we want to thank all the participants, but especially congratulate Commissioner Ariola, Commissioner Ward on their re-election, and are excited to welcome Ms. Sacco in as our Commissioner-elect for the City at Large seat. Are there any comments or questions on this, or is there a motion? Commissioner Warren?
I would love to make the motion since I had been appointed to the canvassing board.
Yes,
and
thank
to
you for your
welcome
service.
everybody that they are able to come in, that the City Commission adopt the proposed resolution.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, Commissioner Simmons seconds. So the motion is to adopt resolution 191131. And we will turn to Larry to see if there's any members of the public that wish to speak to the motion.
There are not, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Turning back to the commission, if there are no further questions, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Mayor Poe.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Our next item is RE-2, State Housing Initiative Partnership, Local Program Local Housing Assistance Plan, State Fiscal Years 2020 through 2023. With the recommendation that the City Commission adopt the resolution approving the State Housing Initiative Partnership Program Local Housing Assistance Plan for state fiscal years 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022, and 2022 to 2023. Authorize the submission of the 2023 local housing assistance plan to the Florida Housing Finance Corporation. Authorize the mayor to execute the interlocal agreement between the City of Gainesville and Alachua County for the rental assistance program, subject to review by the city attorney as to form and legality, and authorize the mayor and or manager to designee to execute all necessary documents related to the 2020-2023 local housing assistance plan, subject to review by the city attorney as to form and legality.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Mr. Manager, did you have anything you wanted to present to the commission about this?
I think the backup is sufficient. You will have a chance to approve this plan once we get the funding allocations in. We'll bring you the programming for that. The good news is this year the legislature has appropriated the full amount under the trust fund for this Sadowski SHIP program, and we're looking forward to bringing you worthwhile programs for our neighbors.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman, and we're hopeful that it stays that way and it isn't modified in any special session that they have later this summer. Would anybody like to ask any questions or make any comments on this? Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question about on page 16. It says the recipient tenant selection criteria, and it says applicants will be ranked for assistance based on a first qualified, first served basis, with the priorities for special needs, essential services personnel, and income groups as described in section 1 of this plan. And I looked back to see what the reference was, but if somebody can answer what we're considering essential services personnel. I didn't see the definition.
I'm not sure that I can give you the definition right now, but I'll be happy to provide that to you.
Okay. The reason why I ask is because I think it's important to include people that are on, not people that are working in grocery stores, our janitorial services, including those people in essential services. So I'm hoping that we can expand the category than what's normally seen as essential services.
Our only constraint would be what the state regulations restrict.
I see. So we don't have any control over that, is what you're saying?
We may have the ability to expand it, but we can't go outside of the boundaries.
Okay. Will you be able to, I guess, find out what that is, write a memo to us and let us know, and then if it is possible to include all those workers on the front lines?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Warren, did you want to speak? And before you speak, Commissioner Warren, for the commissioners, if you do want to speak, it'd be helpful if you click that little raise hand button, because I'm checking that. And that way I'll be able to see who else wants to speak. Commissioner Warren?
Okay, I apologize for that, because I thought you had said earlier it was hard to manage the raised hands. So this is really fantastic. It's the first time in a long time that the Sadowski funds have been able to come through at this amount. And I know we've got the city staff who will be looking at how they'll use it. But do we know how much it will be yet, or is that still something that's coming down the pipe? And will we be able to combine that with any of the other funds that will be coming in with the various CARES programs that are designated specifically with HUD funding?
The answer to the first question is no, we don't know that amount. Last time that we had full funding, it was about $500,000. The answer to the second question is absolutely.
Great, because I think that'll be an interesting process to be able to look at the assistance that may be available with the Gainesville Community Redevelopment Assistance, the CRA, the new form for the CRA and for the SHIP, and with the Sadowski funds and the federal funds. It's going to be there's a lot of people who need help, and it'll be really a big responsibility to have a good team on board to define how that will be going out there. Right now, we know that there are a lot of people who are on hold for evictions if the landlords receive HUD bank, the federally banked loans, but there's a lot of people who are in homes that are with landlords who have no loans. They're, no cash. They're all cash purchases. So it'll be, I'm looking forward to seeing how we move forward with that.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners have any questions about this particular item? Commissioner Simmons?
Thank you, Mayor. City Manager, have we received a copy of the LHP, the Local Housing Assistance Plan? Have we received that yet? The commission?
The one that the city generates should be in your backup.
Okay. Have we had an opportunity to look at it well, no, we haven't. I just wanted to make sure that that the commission had an opportunity to really vet through that plan to make sure that whatever needs that we may deem really important for our housing stock and the housing situation in our community that really reflects in this housing plan. But I trust staff did a wonderful job. I just wanted to make sure that as a commission, we are very well made aware of what's in the actual plan itself.
We also have the ability to amend the plan from time to time.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Ariola?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And for the manager, I'm reading the plan that we have. And so obviously there's, a limited pot that comes from Tallahassee. Are these listed, the housing strategies, in terms of whether it's rental assistance or housing development programs? Are these listed in terms of priorities? Because I see that there's maximum awards that are put down. So, I mean, this has all been prioritized.
So the priorities will come when we get the dollars and we come back to you with the allocation of the dollars.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so anybody want to put a motion on the floor? Commissioner Warren?
Yes, I would love to put the motion. It's a rather long resolution to read, but I would make the recommendation that the City Commission adopt resolution 191113 through A, B, C, D, E, F, all the exhibit engagements, I'm sorry, the 1, 2, 3, 4 items that are listed with the recommendation on our agenda.
Very good. So the motion to adopt resolution 191113. Is there a second? Could give that one to Commissioner Johnson. It was a tie, but spread the love. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any members of the public wish to speak to this motion, Larry?
No, Mayor, they're not.
Okay, very good. So Commissioner Warren?
Yeah, just to make one more comment that it's been so long since we've had this much money. It's going to be like winning the lottery. And so again, just being able to have this gift and to be able to use it wisely, it's a blessing to get that this year for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I hope it's still there after the special session. But
yeah, me too.
Okay, so we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Our next item is RE-3, Resolution and Perpetual Easement Request for Florida Department of Transportation from the City of Gainesville, with the recommendation that the City Commission adopt a resolution approving the perpetual easement to the Florida Department of Transportation and authorize the mayor to execute and the clerk to attest the perpetual easement to the Florida Department of Transportation, subject to the approval of the city attorney or designee as to form and legality.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Feldman, anything you want to add to this?
I'll just point out that this and the next two items are all related to construction projects and our partnership with FDOT in providing them easements or land where necessary to commence the projects.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions or is there a motion? Commissioner Ariola?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 191017.
Okay, is there a second? Second from Commissioner Ward. Any questions from the commission? Okay, any members of the public wish to speak to this item, Mr. Schooler?
No, sir.
Okay, back to the commission. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
All right, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Our next item is RE-4, Resolution and Quick Claim Deed Request for Florida Department of Transportation from the City of Gainesville. The recommendation that the City Commission adopt a resolution approving the quick claim deed to the Florida Department of Transportation and authorize the mayor to execute the need to attest the quick claim deed to the Florida Department of Transportation, subject to approval of the city attorney or designee as to the legality.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions? Commissioner Warren?
Just was going to make the motion to adopt
Please
the
do.
resolution. Okay, so I
Okay,
make
so
the motion.
that's fine. You got it. That's the
Okay.
motion. You got a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Simmons to adopt Resolution 191122. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak to this motion?
No, sir, they're not.
Okay, turning back to the commission. Any further questions? Okay, roll call vote.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Our next item is RE-5, Resolution and Temporary Construction Easement for Request for Florida Department of Transportation from the City of Gainesville, with the recommendation that the City Commission adopt a resolution approving the temporary construction easement to the Florida Department of Transportation and authorize the mayor to execute and the clerk or designee to attest the temporary construction easement to the Florida Department of Transportation, subject to the approval of the city attorney or designee as to form and legality.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And Madam Clerk, there's a little bit of an echo or a feedback going on with your audio. I don't know if it's your proximity to your computer's microphone or what. We can pretty much hear you, but it's a little choppy. Folks at home might have a little trouble following you.
Is that a little better?
Yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah, I just had to mute. There's feedback coming from Commissioner Warren's line. I'm not sure, but typically when we mute that clears that up.
Okay. Yeah, and okay. Any questions, or is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner Warren moves the adoption of the resolution. Commissioner Hayes Santos seconds. That's Resolution 191123. Any members of the public wish to speak to that motion?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. Turning back to the commission, roll call vote.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Our next item is RE-6, resolution authorizing replacement of existing credit agreements with respect to GRU variable rate utility system revenue bonds, Series 2005 Series C, 2006 Series A, and 2012 Series B. Amendment and extension of the existing liquidity agreement with respect to GRU variable rate utilities system revenue bonds 2008 Series B, with a recommendation that the commission approve the resolution authorizing with Barclays Bank the replacement of the existing liquidity facility agreements for variable rate utility system revenue bonds 2005 Series C, 2006 Series A, and 2012 Series B, and amendment and extension of the existing liquidity agreement with Barclays Bank PLC for variable rates utility system revenue bonds 2008 B, subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form and legality, the form of the standby bond purchase agreements for each of the liquidity facilities and fee letters, and the form of reoffering memorandum.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll turn over to Ed Bolarski. I know that he also has with him today Claudia Rasnick, Mark Bitton and Michael Weiner to help us through this particular transaction. Mr. Blarski?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. You're exactly right. I have the folks that actually make it happen with me. Mark Benton is going to take the commission through what sounds like a very complicated transaction, but is very necessary and pretty straightforward. So with that, I'll let Mark Benton take the stage.
Thanks. And if we could have Mark and Ed, if you could put your video on as well, unless there's something compromising about. Oh, there. Thank you very much. So we especially folks at home would like to see you in person. Okay, so Mark, is this you or Claudia?
It's me, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, welcome.
As you know, we have a mix of fixed and variable rate issues in our debt portfolio. We are required to maintain liquidity facilities to secure our outstanding publicly issued variable rate debt, and we're required both by our internal bond resolution as well as the market, investors and rating agencies. These liquidity facilities, we have variable rate debt that roll over on a daily and a weekly basis. In the event that there's a market disruption, these liquidity facilities provide cash to pay investors that tender their bonds for payment. We currently have 9 liquidity facilities outstanding. A number of them expired this year, and so we asked our financial advisor, PFM, to reach out to solicit some proposals to provide facilities for the 2005C, 2006A, 2012B, and 2008B facilities. We evaluate these things on a number of different variables, including the facility fee itself, the term of the agreement, the ratings of the banks that are proposing, as well as their trading history. And based on those variables, we chose Barclays Bank as a preferred provider. Based on the proposal that they made, we will save about $98,000 over what we're currently paying for those facilities. And so what we're requesting is that you approve the resolution authorizing Barclays as the replacement for the facilities for the 2005C, 2006A, and 2012B, and an extension of the existing agreement with Barclays for the 2008Bs.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Benton. Ms. Rasnick, was there anything you wanted to add to that, or Mr. Blarski?
No, this is a normal transaction that we go through every year, actually, because these expire every 3 to 4 years. So it's definitely a normal transaction.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for the presentation. Any questions from members of the commission, or is there a motion? Let me turn on my little participants thing. Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question big on kind of the finance. I mean, this is just the first of the many bonds, but in terms of the financial markets kind of in a weird place right now, and definitely some of the larger banks are starting to have issues with bad loans and things like that. How does the picture look in terms of for utilities and for us kind of specifically? I know that some cities are having a lot of issues, or starting to have some issues, but in terms of kind of our financial abilities to be able to do things, are we still kind of in a good place? Or
I believe that Mr. Bolarski sent a communication to the commission regarding this. I think it was last week. We're monitoring our cash collections, receivables, payables, those sorts of things. I also have regular calls with the banks, and they have regular market updates. So there was significant market disruption a couple of weeks ago where a lot of investors were moving towards cash. And you could see that in the equity market and also in the muni bond area. That's when you heard the news reports about the Fed stepping in and kind of backstopping the muni bond market, and that really settled things down. So during that particular time, we saw some of our reset rates actually accelerating up into the 5-10% range for a very short period of time. And then it settled down, and now we're more in a normal area right now. So it's definitely looking better, and you can actually see those effects in the market, and you can also see those in the muni bond market as well. So as far as GRU is concerned, we are watching everything very, very closely. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Santos, good?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Commissioner Warren?
Yeah, thank you. I keep having these things show up on my screen. Hold on, okay. I had to wait for the clerk to put the video back on. So Claudia and Mark, that's great about how you're able to adjust with the rates. I was wondering, and I don't think I heard you answer this. You mentioned that, Claudia, I think you just were the one that said that we have seen some of the interest rates going up a little bit, up to around 5, and that you said that they've settled a little bit now at what would be a normal amount. What do you think the possibility, the realm of the world these days, the possibility of interest rates even getting lower, that to refinance, do we have another set of bonds that will be coming up, say, in 3 more months or 4 more months? And I know you guys have people that are constantly watching this, but maybe Claudia or Mark, how low were interest rates that were available for refinancing in the last month?
So we benchmark our restructurings that we've been doing against the 10-year Treasury,
Okay.
and that one is low into the 30 range, and it's actually moved back up. There was a significant move in about 2 weeks where it went from like 1.5 down to 30. And that is a disrupting mechanism within the market in and of itself, because what was happening is there were a lot of investors that wanted to get out of certain things and to move into cash, but it's definitely settled down right now. And we're actually seeing an opportunity to enter into another transaction, which is the next item on the agenda, Mr. Mayor and Commission, which is extending the term of the city swap that we currently have. If I could predict interest rates, I'd be doing something different for a living. But it's actually been a very good market for us lately. So while you're seeing a lot of disruption, we've been able to take advantage of it. So that's been really great. And then thank you for the commission for allowing us to do that. We wouldn't have been able to do that had you not passed the resolution last fall for us to take advantage of these market opportunities. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how much there are people like you and Mark in that department that really love looking at trends and being prepared to move when it's possible. Mayor, if there aren't any other comments, I'd love to be able to be the one to make the motion to adopt.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I move that the commission approve resolution 191095 and authorizing Barclays Bank the replacement of existing liquidity. And I don't think I need to read the whole thing, but that we move forward with adoption of this resolution.
Okay, very good. Is there a second? I don't have any video on most of you, so.
The clerk needs to open them up. Adrian second.
Okay, Commissioner Santos second. Mr. Ward makes the motion to adopt resolution 191095. Commissioner Santos seconds. And Ms. Razik, you remind me of something my economics professor David Denslow used to remind folks if he could predict the market with any accuracy at all, his suits would have been made out of silk and not cotton. So we appreciate that. It's an art, not necessarily science. Okay, we'll turn over to Larry for any members of the public that wish to comment on this item. Larry?
Sir, we don't have any for this item. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Back to the commission then, and this will be a roll call vote.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Santos?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe?
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Our next item is RE-7, resolution authorizing amendment to a swap transaction between the Gainesville Regional Utilities and Citibank, amending the optional par early termination option of GRU, with a recommendation that the Commission approve the resolution authorizing the General Manager or Chief Financial Officer to negotiate and execute an amendment to the swap transaction between GRU and Citibank, extending the termination option from 10 years to 17 years, subject to certain execution parameters being met.
Okay, Mr. Blarski.
Am I okay? Okay. Again, I will turn it over to the folks that know. I mean, they've been working on this transaction and came to me after they had done the Goldman swap and said, "Hey, I think we have this opportunity." So I said, "Hey, let's put it on the agenda." So let Mark and Claudia go through it.
Okay, very good. Ms. Rasnick, Mr. Benton, welcome back.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, in 2017, as part of the DHR acquisition transaction, we entered into a 27-year, $45 million swap with Citibank, and its intent was to hedge a portion of the variable rate debt that we issued to acquire the plant. One of the provisions of that swap was that we held an option to terminate the swap on or after year 10 at no cost to the utility. What we're asking the authorization for tonight is to extend that termination option from 10 years to 17 years. In exchange, we would require the counterparty, Citibank, to do one of two things: either give us an upfront payment of not less than $2.1 million, or to write down the existing fixed payer swap rate to an extent that would generate no less than $90,000 a year in annual savings for the utility through the life of the swap. This authorization would provide the general manager the authority to execute through September 30, 2020. And as Mr. Blarski just mentioned, we've already executed a similar swap with Goldman Sachs on their portion, a swap extension on their portion of the swap that generated us about $8.5 million in savings over the 27 years of the swap.
Thank you, Mr. Benton. And just one clarifying question: that would be $2.1 million or $90,000 for the remainder of the agreement, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Questions from the commission, if we can turn their video back on, Madam Clerk. Okay, Commissioner Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Here, the authorization to execute through September 30th, 2020. That means that if you can't come to a deal, then that option is gone after that date. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anybody else? Or is there a motion? Mr. Warren?
Yeah, go ahead and make the motion for the commission to adopt resolution 191104 as identified in the agenda.
Okay, is there a second? Commissioner Ward seconds to approve resolution 191104. Members of the public that wish to speak to this motion?
No, sir, none on this items.
Okay, then we'll move back to the commission for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ariola?
I'm sorry, if we could pause. Commissioner Simmons, you had a question? Commissioner Simmons,
I just had a question for staff. Yeah. Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
I had a question for staff. Okay. Was this taken to the UA?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and what was the outcome?
It was approved unanimously.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, this commissioner and the last item went to the UAB on March 12th.
I see it. Thank you.
Like right before we stopped. Yeah. Okay. Seeing nobody else, so we'll move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren? We gotta get you unmuted. Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos,
Aye.
and Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Okay, next item, please.
Our next item is RE-8, resolution authorizing the issuance of variable rate subordinated utility system revenue bond series 20A with the recommendation that the City Commission approve the supplemental subordinated utility system revenue bond resolution and thereby approve the issuance and sale of the 2020 Series A bonds to Trust Bank, approve the form of the purchase contract, and authorize the execution and delivery thereof, subject to approval by the city attorney as to form and legality.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Blarski. Mr. Blarski, did you want to introduce this?
I'm trying to start my video. There I go. Okay, can you hear me?
We can catch it.
Yeah, okay, great. There's another example of BFA, Budget, Finance, and Accounting, looking at us getting into the whole COVID-19 scenario and saying, what do we have to do as a utility to ensure that we have the free flow of funds? And so they went into a mode to find a way to get funds that we could draw upon if the need arose to do that. So they went to SunTrust, which became Truist Bank, and they've brought this proposal before you. So I'll turn it again over to Mark and to Claudia.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Benton, Ms. Rasnick, welcome back.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, this item represents a revolving line of credit. What it'll give us is a low-cost source of additional liquidity. It also provides us some balance between our liquidity resources for our operating costs and our capital costs as well. This will not be debt. It will only be debt in the event of and to the extent of that we actually draw down on the line of credit. We hope not to have to do that, but it provides us the resources in the event that we have some unforeseen issues coming out of the current situation and we need cash in a hurry. It provides us that ability.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rasnick, anything you want to add to that?
Yes, so just to provide some comfort, the utility has plenty of cash. When we ran this calculation, if we did not receive another dollar from any of our customers, we have about 160 days of operating expenses on hand. But knowing the unknown with the COVID-19 pandemic, we wanted to be sure to go ahead and lock something in now. Because I think you've heard me say this before, it's easier to get a loan when you don't need it than when you do need it. And I think one of the commissioners referenced, there are other entities out there that are having trouble, pulling down lines of credit, and that's what you're seeing now. We have a good relationship with SunTrust, which is now Truist, and they were willing to offer it at really competitive rates. And also in the market, you see this in the corporate world and also with other utilities where people are either trying to gain access to a line of credit or start to draw down the actual cash related to it, just so that they have that cash on hand, just in case we don't know what's going to happen. So the plan for this is we would issue the $50 million line of credit. It's a line of credit. We don't plan on drawing on it. And we get through this period of time with COVID, and then we take a good look at what our liquidity levels look like and then adjust it back down. And most likely we would be adjusting down the commercial paper lines rather than the line of credit. So we put a lot of thought into this before we brought it to the commission. And when we first started these discussions, it was about 30 days ago when we were all kind of moving into this process and saying, what do we need to do to make sure that we can pay our bills should that time come? And so that's why you see this before you. There is no need and there is no intent as of right now to draw down this line. It's just available. The other piece to the puzzle, which is positive, the rating agencies do like this. They do like some, the entities, the utilities, to be very proactive in making sure that they do have access to cash if should they actually need it. So we've had a couple of discussions with 2 rating agencies, and they thought this was positive. Matter of fact, one of them made a comment that they would be nervous if we were looking at reducing our lines of credit. So other than that, I don't have anything else to cover. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you both for that explanation. Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How are our delinquency rates so far in terms of cash coming in?
So I pulled February month end for our receivables. And when you say delinquencies, I call them receivables, just to see where they're aging at. So between February and March, we had a slight uptick in the 31 to 60 day range of about, off the top of my head, I think it was 475,000. But in total, it was up 361,000. Now, these are receivables of $30 million for the utility. So that slight uptick could be weather related because February and March were very warm for us. So you could see that occurring. What we are doing is we're monitoring our receivables every 2 weeks now. So we'll pull another report this week and take a look at it because, again, it was the end of March. So we're paying close attention to that to see if there is an uptick in receivables. But overall, the number that I saw was very immaterial compared to the total receivables we carry on a monthly basis anyway. We're also watching our cash collections to make sure that they're in line with last year, to see if there's been any dip in those, and we haven't seen any discernible dip in those either. But it's one of those things that we're watching pretty closely.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad we're giving this line of credit as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And Mr. Bolarski, if you could share that bi-monthly report, once your folks are able to analyze it, if you just share a brief summary, a 1-paragraph summary with the commission is highlighting if there are deviations from the sort of what we've seen in the past, just so we're aware of it and we can work with you to try to help people if that starts becoming an issue.
Yeah, I'd be glad to do that, Mayor. I'd also add that I think what's really interesting about this, there's a great spirit among our customers. They understand how difficult it is if you can fall behind, and they come in and they are paying their bills. And we are certainly looking at what kind of abilities we have to be in the position of having more liberal extension payments and things like our programs. So we know that this doesn't end May 15th or some other date. We know that we're going to have to be working with customers for a long time, and that's part of why we're talking about this right now.
Yeah, thank you. And if we could get another 3 months of weather like we had today, that would help our customers tremendously. Anybody else wish to make any comments or ask any questions on this item? Okay. Can we get a motion on the floor? Commissioner Warren?
Mic on. So I'd make a motion for the City Commission to approve supplemental subordinated utility system revenue bond resolution 191142.
Is there a second? Commissioner Hayes Santos. Motion is to approve resolution 191142. Warren makes the motion. Hayes Santos seconds. Do we have any members of the public that wish to speak to this motion?
No, sir, we don't.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll turn back to the commission for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Warren.
Aye.
Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola.
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Okay, our next item is necessary direction to charter officers.
Okay, Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like it if we could discuss the GNV Cares memo that the city manager put out. I think it's important that we give a little bit of feedback on that now, and then I would like for us to schedule a special meeting next Thursday to hopefully we can vote to move forward on it, and to also talk about the COVID-19 emergency orders and kind of reopening as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can we can give direction to the charters as to what information or what consideration we'd like for that draft that the city manager put out, and make sure that they bring that back with them to a special meeting. I agree with you. I would like to schedule that meeting for next. I think, Madam Clerk, we have the 24th reserved on our agenda. Is that correct?
I believe we have next Thursday, the 23rd reserved, but
the 23rd.
Of course, that it would take a little bit of finagling with getting that agenda prepared. So if we could at minimum have, I think till the 5 o'clock on the 20th to get that prepared and out, then I think that date will still be viable.
Okay. Thank you. So I would say for any of the commissioners, if there are things that you would like either or any of the charters to consider and be able to speak towards at that meeting, this would be the appropriate time to ask them for that information.
I do have one.
Commissioner? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. The GNV Cares About Businesses is all good. And then I would like for us to put dollar amounts when it comes down to the fee GNV and assisting local arts performances and advancing buying from local suppliers. I think it's important we put out some dollar amounts. On the GNV Cares by Neighborhood or Neighbors, which is the rent, mortgage, and utility payment kind of stimulus dollars. I don't know if this is a part of, because we're using CBDG dollars, but not having payments up to 12 months, so just doing 3 months and lowering that dollar amount from $5,000 to $2,500 so that we can hit more people. I want us to kind of be a quicker thing, and then if we need to re-up it, we can do it, but I would like to hit as many people as we can with those dollars.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. So Mr. Feldman, if you can maybe come up with some variability there on, yeah, I know that what you put out was a rough draft and it's open to discussion and, amendment. So, I think taking that point of trying to serve more people in a shorter period of time versus fewer over long is something we could look at. Mr. Feldman, let me get Commissioner Johnson first, and then I'll recognize you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. So I got this draft, I believe it was yesterday, around 5 o'clock-ish or so. And I had a chance to talk with some of the other charter officers, and they also didn't see it until then. So I am not at all prepared to give any kind of meaningful feedback, in a turnaround time of 24 hours. So my preference would be, I talked to the city manager. I said that I'd be able to look it over a little bit more in depth and get back to him within the next few days. But I am not prepared, and I don't think any of us, well, maybe you all are prepared, but I'm not prepared to give really meaningful feedback within a turnaround time of 24 hours, and also not being able to talk with the other charter officers. I will say offhand that one of the, and I'll bring this up later, but one of the concerns that I have and will always continue to have is how equity is going to be built into the response of our decisions. I know that, we are rolling out, for example, fee GNV, and there's this like multi-million-dollar decision that we're making, and we have not had any discussion at all about how equity centers into how equity is centered within this. And we have made a commitment as a commission and as a community. And I want to make sure that as we go through the process of making decisions, like we have an actual set of questions or tools or something that we are going by to make these really important decisions. Because as we know, like the equity now is going to be even more important now than ever, because the people that are being most affected are the people that are on the margins. And this needs to be a discussion. And I'm hoping that as we make this specific decision, that we are making it in an equitable manner.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. And we've talked about this before, but as we start moving things forward, if we can just put that that piece in the item, just like we do a fiscal note, do an equity note on how it addresses our equity issues. That makes it a lot more clear, and it lets us know that staff has thought about these things from that perspective. The other thing that I just want to make sure that everybody doesn't feel that they're left out of the loop. This was not an item that was placed on the agenda tonight. It was not. We did not expect to talk about it tonight. The city manager, I think released that draft because people were starting to get questions about, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And so the city manager put out what he and some staff had worked on, with the understanding that this is not the final version. This is not what we're being asked to consider to adopt. It's something to start us talking about, how do we respond, and, using the resources that we have here locally, how can we, help folks that, especially as we're starting to hear, are not able to get help from the state and federal level. Some people have been completely shut out of that process. And so, finding ways to at least meet the needs of the people who haven't had access to anything else is important to me. So yeah, that's Commissioner Johnson, you're right. It for this meeting, it was a short turnaround time, but it really wasn't meant to be discussed at this meeting. It was meant to be first really presented and discussed at this meeting next week. And so hopefully that gives you enough time to meet with staff and really think about it yourself, and meet with, talk with community members on what their needs are. That's what I want to hear from, what would be meaningful and helpful to you. I lied, Mr. Manager. I'm going to go ahead and get Commissioner Simmons first, and then I'll turn to you. Commissioner Simmons.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to echo what Commissioner Johnson just stated. I think it's extremely important, especially in these days and times, that the equity factor is across the board. My concern is when staff, particularly our charter officers, if they're not engaging with one another, when we have these type of opportunities to reach into the communities and really make something happen, that's a concern to me. And what I mean is, everyone at this point, at this time, and at this moment should be working as partners, should be working collaboratively, should be working together as charter officers to make sure that our vision and what the commission require and asks is being carried out. I feel that, I know we have unforeseen circumstances, but I feel as though if we're going to get through these troubled times, if we're going to make an impact in this community, our charter officers have to work together. No one should be working in silos. No one should be working on an island. We need to work together. So as we continue to move forward and have an impact in this community, we need to work together. Our charter officers need to communicate. They need to be transparent, and they need to have a relationship, be it if it's whatever. We need to have a positive relationship, and we need to work together. And I'm going to keep saying that. We need to work together. We are stronger together. We are better together. We move this city forward together, and we need to make that a practice. I'm totally in agreement with Commissioner Johnson. And I'm looking forward to having this conversation next Thursday. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Manager.
I just wanted to say also, we may need a second special meeting on the 27th. As you know, part of this process deals with CDBG dollars that have come from the federal government through the CARES Act, and there is still a process that's going to be necessary to allocate those dollars. And the earliest we can do that with meeting notice requirements will be the 27th.
Okay, so we'll ask the clerk to set both those dates aside. I think we can today go ahead and schedule that meeting for next week. Commissioner Jesus Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to, hopefully we can be at a place where we can vote on next Thursday because of the reasons that the federal government is having issues getting their payments out. The state of Florida unemployment site is failing and people aren't getting dollars. If we're able to, and then the PPP dollars have run out. So many small businesses did not receive any money from that. Probably went to a lot of larger corporations that had very quick turnarounds with their accounts. So I think we need to act quickly. Hopefully we can be at a place so we can vote next Thursday so the program can be implemented quickly and get dollars out into the community quickly because our community needs the dollars. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. I think that we should be able to get there. I think whatever concerns people might have, whether it's in sort of ratio of funding allocation or so my big thing is going to be making sure that we are able to target individuals and businesses who have been shut out of the other options that have been put out there so far, either by the state and federal government. And I think if we do that, that's going to get a lot towards the equity issues. There's a reason that those people have not had access to those programs up to this point. And so I have full confidence that we can put together a plan that gets us there by next Thursday. And I just encourage each of you to work with the charters, share any thoughts you have, concerns you have. I know our new policy director, Zariah, is all over this and he's excited about it and ready to do some really focused work on this and many other things that will help with our absorption of the economic and social devastation that this is causing. So there's a lot of people ready to work really hard that have been working really hard. So just let's make sure that we all communicate with them so we have a good work product to hopefully vote on next week. Let's see, let's go to Commissioner Ward. We have Ward, then Warren, then Ariola.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My input on this is, first of all, I'm glad that we have a document to work with. I don't expect it to be the final document by any means. There's a lot of work to be done on it. We have several days to work on it individually. But I'm pleased that we have something to work with. To my mind, I recognize that the money is, that some of the money that we're going to be working with, some of the pots of money, are restricted in geographically and by use, how they can be used for this plan. But with that in mind, my priorities certainly are neighbors first and then businesses. And I also recognize that small business dollars flow into neighbors' pockets. I get how that works, but I want to be clear that that we want to put neighbors first in this and use the dollars as much as possible for neighbors first. And I want to take care of our businesses as well, but that's the priority that I'm looking for. With that said, again, I'm pleased that we have this going, and sooner is better than later for me. I don't want us to talk about this for 3 or 4 meetings. We need to get money flowing to our neighbors, to our small businesses, because as Commissioner Santos has articulated, unemployment funds and other funds that ought to be flowing don't seem to be flowing. So the city of Gainesville, where possible, needs to step in and take up that slack. I hope that we can also talk with the county about them taking part in this as well. And on some level, I don't know if we're able to partner, but I hope that the opportunity is there at least. I do appreciate what we're already doing. The restaurant program is wonderful. Our investment in what Working Food is doing is very good. So we've got some good baby steps out there, and I'm looking forward to us really making this plan work and making GNV Cares a reality again sooner rather than later. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Warren.
clarification. Yeah, I'm unmuted. Are you expecting us to come back next week with, I'm seeing two different dates that I've heard us talk about this evening. One is that we're planning to have a meeting next week on the 23rd. But I thought I heard something about the 27th. Was that incorrect? Are we not planning something also on the 27th?
We are. That's for the CDBG allocation. That'll be a new allocation, and it will not be ready for us to take action on until the 27th.
Okay, because I don't have that on my calendar yet, so I wasn't sure about that. So again, what I'm seeing with this memo, I'm understanding that it would be just an outline. I would hope that we can come in and try to give some direction to the policy, but to point out that as I'm seeing it, we've got maybe 4 sources of funds that will be coming to the state. The Sadowski, and that they are all things that are just going to be here for this year. None of them are given to be recurring funds. So my concern with that is that we really need to find a way to use those funds in the community and something that will be able to be lasting. For many people, it's just going to be a one-time support. So I'm seeing the Sadowski funds, which will go to the SHIP, the CARES funds, which is coming down from the federal level. And then locally, the PPP, when the comment on the memo says that we'll see about giving funds to small businesses if they can show evidence of having already applied for the small business loan. Are there separate funds that are also coming in for that, or the money that we get with the CARES is the only bucket of money that will be used for that?
Mr. Feldman, do you have an answer for that?
So what you're looking at is potential criteria, and this is just a work in progress, but that refers to businesses, and so there are certain eligibility requirements for the program, payroll protection program, on there. So while we're not expecting small businesses to have received an award, we want to see that they have met the qualifications or have at least applied for that as one way of determining which businesses. That may be a criteria that we recommend on the 23rd, or it may go away. Right now, again, this is a work in progress, and we're soliciting feedback from not only the commission, but from additional staff and charters as we go through this process. This was something that we started working on, had different components of staff, put something together. It wasn't until Wednesday morning I had it in a format that was connecting all the pieces in my mind that I could even share it with more than the few staff members that were working on it, and compiling it, because I didn't want to start putting out documents that created expectations that we couldn't deliver on. So it's our intent to have this item vetted some more as we approach the 23rd, 24th, for that special meeting. I would like the commission to give us some blessing on at that special meeting to move forward. And then on the 27th, as you see, a portion of this is the CDBG CARES and some reprogramming of existing CDBG. There's a process that still has to be gone through. And while the federal government has abbreviated that during this COVID-19 pandemic, there's still a process that we have to go through to dot the I's and cross the T's before we can officially allocate that money. This will be a 2-step process for us to go through. Once the commission's given us the blessing, we will actually have to get the mechanics in place to put this all in place and get the dollars out the door. I am starting that process now so we can hit the ground running with the assumption that you all are going to endorse doing something. And it'll just be a matter of populating the the various buckets and finalizing the criteria. So we're working on the mechanics of getting this out the door as quick as possible.
Commissioner Warren.
Point, Lee, what would be helpful to me, because I see of these funds coming in different buckets or coming in different paths, if somebody with staff could provide something to illustrate where monies are coming in and how they're dedicated towards where they can go, and then identify, how that policy will be put into practice with the city. I was with a meeting with the COC last Friday, or maybe it was Monday, talking about the COC's efforts to move not only getting people tested that are on the streets, but how to assist individuals that may have not been able to pay rent. The governor's put in the restriction on any evictions, but again, if people own a house with cash, they're not obligated to be under that. So to be able to know where the money's coming from and how we can use it. And just as Commissioner Simmons and Johnson have stressed that we need all our people to be working together, that I hope that we would be working very strongly with the COC and the other agencies that are out there that are assisting individuals with housing, and the conversations with landlords and property managers to kind of get a feel for who's where and what housing that may be, the Gainesville Housing Authority and the Alachua County Housing Authority. How are they doing as far as, are they getting money in from the federal level that will go directly to those individuals living in public assistance? So there's a lot of questions that, the compassion is out there for everybody to get some assistance that's in the low income and in the high need for assistance with housing. But I would like to see some kind of illustration that would help me know how that money will be able to be put into the community and who else in the community we are working with. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Arreola.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to get into some of the details of the memo. I'll wait until our next meeting to do that. I also wanted to talk a little bit more about collaborations and all of that. But since we're going to sort of put that off until next week, I just want to sort of talk about the concepts that I think that we should be considering. Right now, a lot of economic discussion is around economic relief. How do we help people get by? That's going to be an extremely pressing issue for a number of months. I think we need to begin to get ahead of the ball because, and I thought should have had this discussion a couple of weeks ago. The relief period is going to very quickly turn into how do we get back to a condition where people can have at least some degree of certainty of the facts of the economy that they're going to be operating in. Right now, that's not really the case with all the different orders coming from the president and the governor and different governments. So I think we need to start gearing up to how do we begin to give people confidence that their investments in our city are going to actually be received. So for example, at the top of the meeting, we mentioned we're not doing quasi-judicial. For now, we're not doing quasi-judicial. I think the quicker we can get to an answer for the continuity of essential government activities like that, I think we can give more confidence to people, because the unique part about our community is that with the University of Florida sending students home, and that was an order given by the governor, actually, the governor wanted to have say over the state universities. Our economy is going to be bare bones until those students come back in the fall. So we're going to need more than just relief. We're going to need new ideas for how to generate goods and services and economic opportunity for people in the city, because the relief only deals with one aspect of operating the city. The other part is the continuity of government and economy. Another thing I want us to talk about next week is the very real possibility that in a number of weeks, we may be in a situation where the White House and the governor's mansion are telling everybody that emergency orders are lifted and whatnot, but that might not be the best course of action given the course of the virus. The virus continues to spread. It has been a regular spread here in Alachua County, but also in Florida. And that's a discussion that I know that you've been having, Mr. Mayor, with the chair of the county commission. We've been moving in lockstep. But I do think that we need to get a little bit more up to speed on what we might be doing if those conflicting orders come into reality. So I will leave it at that. I just want to thank everybody. This has probably been the hardest month in many of our lives, and I think that we have handled it very well. I don't want anyone to think that, anyone that's watching in the public to think that there's one or two programs that we're going to be initiating to deal with this. This is essentially a reorienting of the government budget. Personally, I think every unrestricted fund and every restricted fund that has that we can lift those restrictions, I think that needs to be considered. But we need to be careful because we're not going to have accurate, at least this is what I've been told, we're not going to have accurate figures on government revenue, at least for another month. So it's very difficult to begin to figure out how we reallocate some of those dollars. So I see that this $2.5 million Gainesville Cares plan, a lot of that's from funding that has already been committed by state governments. So as we move forward, I want us to sort of take an approach that, you know, we can start here, but there's going to be a lot more that needs to be done. But it's like looking through a glass darkly right now. In terms of figuring out what monies are going to be available. But I think everything should be on the table because this is, as I said, been the most difficult month for many people's lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to just to backtrack to what I was talking about earlier before, and then give some direction to our charter officers. So I have been involved in many calls with the GARE, the Government Alliance for Race and Equity, and also Local Progress, and also the Race and Equity Leadership Council for the National League of Cities. And there have been, the calls have been mainly about the different cities' responses across the nation and how they've been dealing with it in terms of equity. And I think it will be important for us to have some type of framework to be able to how to make these decisions moving forward. What I would like to see happen is our Office of Equity and Inclusion work with the City Manager's Office and actually all of our charter officers. It doesn't have to be detailed or involved, but literally just come up with a set of questions, a very simple, like COVID-19 equity toolkit, equity-centered toolkit rather, so that we know that when anything that comes back to us, whether it's fee GNV or whether it is Gainesville Cares or Gainesville Neighbors Cares, whatever that comes back to us throughout the course as we move through this crisis, that it has been thought through in terms of equity. So what I'd like to ask is that our Office of Equity and Inclusion will work with our charter officers to come up with this toolkit, and then this specific document is vetted in that way. And I'd also like to see the fee GNV document, not document, but the program vetted in the same way. And then I'd like to see, then we can discuss it next week, and then hopefully adopt that to make sure that all of that is incorporated into our decision-making moving forward. Do I need to make a motion, or am I just providing direction?
We're just providing direction.
Okay.
They're listening to you and taking notes. I think we will need a motion to schedule that meeting eventually, but yeah, that's giving charter officers direction is so
when we say schedule that meeting, what I'm hoping is that they will be able to work on this over the next week, and then at the next meeting that we have discussed this, since we are literally in the via
That's the plan. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I want to remind everybody that this was not expected to be discussed tonight. This was not on the agenda. That's why, but the charters are all, listening to your comments and taking your suggestions and direction, and we'll incorporate that into our discussion next week. Commissioner Simmons?
I just think that's a great idea. I'm totally agree with Commissioner Johnson on that. If they can work together and bring back something prior to the next meeting, that'd be helpful for me. Thank you.
Thank you. And it sounds like Gare might have something to springboard off of. That'd be helpful. Commissioner Hey Santos?
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion that we schedule a special city commission meeting for next Thursday. And we discuss two topics, economic stimulus, and then COVID-19 emergency orders and a reopening plans.
Okay. Is there a second?
I want to add something to it.
Go ahead.
And then we also discussed the COVID-19 Equity Center toolkit that will be coming our way.
Okay.
And then we also discussed that maybe we put that first. I don't know if that's the best or not, but
I'll work with
yeah, that's fine.
I'll work with the clerk on the agenda. Okay, so we're going to discuss the equity parameters for any COVID-19 related action we take, stimulus plan, and emergency orders. I'm going to be very cautious about discussion of the emergency orders because when we talk about emergency orders and reopening plan, we don't know what we don't know. And there's a lot of assumptions being made, ranging from this is going to be the new normal for another 18 months to we're going to be open in 2 weeks. And, we can talk very sort of hypothetically about those things, but the reality is the way that our world is today is different than it was a week ago, and it's going to be different a week from now than it is today. And so I don't, I'm happy to have that sort of philosophical discussion with you, but the minute we say this is going to be our plan, well, those of you who read the scriptures, what God then does. And so, I'm not saying I'm not willing to discuss it, but I think we need to discuss it with a degree of caution, knowing how quickly things change. Commissioner Ariola, was that an old hand or?
It was in regards to rather just a procedural question about next week's meeting, but basically just our rules provide that, a week before we can submit something onto the agenda. So never mind. Don't worry about it.
This is 3 days for this one.
For a special meeting, yeah. Okay. So any members of the public wish to speak to the motion to hold a special meeting?
No, sir, there are no members of the public for this item.
Okay, very good. With that, we'll move to a roll call vote on scheduling a meeting for next Thursday, the 23rd. Did we put a time on that, or is there a time on our calendar?
We actually already have 1 o'clock set aside, but also I believe Mr. Manager requested as well a special meeting on the 27th. Do you all want to add that into your motion?
I'm fine with that. Let me check my calendar. Commissioner Hey Santos, did you want to modify the motion to include the 27th?
Yeah, I'd like to modify the motion to include a special meeting on the 27th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do y'all mind possibly starting that meeting a little bit later?
Sure.
Like 3? I know my wife has a weekly Zoom meeting with her 4th grade class at 1 o'clock on Thursdays, and I don't want to leave her alone with the kids and the students. Is 3 o'clock okay? Trust me, those 4th graders need that teacher contact. Okay, so the motions for scheduling a meeting for the 23rd at 3 o'clock and a meeting on the 27th. Can we say 3 o'clock as well for that one?
Yeah.
Okay. And so we'll move to a roll call vote. I'm sorry, Mr. Feldman.
I just wanted to point out, I believe you have a Charter Review Commission meeting on the 23rd at 6. So there would be a hard stop at 6 so that we can continue the public participation platform.
Good. I like that. I think 3 hours is plenty of time to have that discussion. Again, we're operating outside the normal boundaries of public meetings here. That is challenging. So if we can keep focused and keep it under 3 hours, I think that only does a service to our residents, our neighbors, our businesses that'll be tuning in. Okay, roll call vote.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Warren?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. I want to thank everybody for participating tonight. Thanks for all the charters and everyone else that helped stand this meeting up and get us ready. I want to especially thank our clerk and our deputy clerk. They have just done a phenomenal job in a short amount of time of helping facilitate this. And you might have heard in the clerk's microphone, she was live, a sound of a baby in the background. This is our new reality where mom's being mom with a newborn and helping clerk a city commission meeting during a time of crisis, which I think is phenomenal. So that it just gives us a little glimpse into what our lives are like these days. I also forgot how good looking all of you are. I thought I remembered y'all being pretty good looking, but you all are exceptionally good looking. And so it's good to have seen you and good to remind me of how lucky I am to work with such great people. So with that, we'll let everyone get back to their physical distancing and their quarantine life. And we will look forward to seeing everybody next Thursday, the 23rd at 3 o'clock.
Can I also thank our communications team?
Absolutely. You can thank our communications team.
We couldn't have done this without them either.
Thank you very much. Okay. With that, we are adjourned. Good night,
Hi, King.